Hello class. Today we are doing 5GO 6.4. Okay, let's take a look at our even numbers. We are asked to find the common denominator and equivalent fractions. Okay, so first we must find our common denominator. When we observe, we have a 4 in one fraction in the denominator and a 3 in the other. Okay, so when we compare, in order to determine equivalent fractions, we must multiply our denominators until we have an equivalent fraction. So we say 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. 3 times 4, okay? Whenever we multiply and we get to the equivalent value of our denominators being multiplied by each other, then we know that we guaranteed a common denominator there. But we look to see if there's a smaller value or a least value that we can work with. So here, this is times 2, and this is times 3, and we recognize that this is our common denominator as well as our least common denominator. So 12 is our common denominator. Now, at this point, we can change our 1/4 to have an equivalent fraction that has 12 in the denominator. So we do that by, if we multiply 4 times 3, then to make this equivalent to 1/4, we must also multiply the numerator times 3. And so therefore that fraction changes to 3/12. Okay, then we look at our 2/3. And if we change its denominator to 12, we know we multiply it by 4, so we multiply the numerator by 4, and therefore that fraction changes to 8/12. And those are our two equivalent fractions. Let's look at number 4. Number 4, we have 3 and 5, okay? And once again, we can multiply 3 times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, okay? And once we get to that point, then we know that 15 is our common denominator, times 2, times 3, okay? So 15 is our common denominator. Now, let's convert our fraction to an equivalent fraction with 15 as a denominator. So 3/5 times 3 gives us 15 in the denominator. So times 3 in the numerator, and we have 9, okay? So 9/15 is equivalent to 3/5. Now let's look at 1/3, okay? So if we have 15 in the denominator, this was times 5, this is times 5, and therefore our new fraction is 5/15. Let's look at number 6. On number 6, we have a 6 and we have a 4. Okay, 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. And 6 times 4 is 24. Let's go. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Oh, look at there. We didn't have to go all the way up to 6. So we have a common denominator that is 12. Therefore, we take 1/6, 12 in the denominator. This was times 2 to get a value of 12. So this would be times 2. And so we have 2/12. Here, 1/4. The denominator is 12. This was times 3. This is times 3. Therefore, that's 3/12. Okay? Let's move forward to number 8. Number 8 reads, use the least common denominator to write an equivalent fraction for each fraction. Okay? Just as we did up here, these were our least common denominators. So we would do the same here. We have 12, we have 8. Okay? So 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. And let's check up here. 2 times 12 is 24. There we are. That's our least common denominator, 24. Now they ask us to write our equivalent fractions. So 1/12 times 2 give us 24 in the denominator. Then times 2 in the numerator will give us a 2. So that would be 2 24ths. And then here with 3/8, if times 3 would give us 24 in the denominator, then times 3 in the numerator would give us a 9. So there would be 9 24ths. Okay, let's move forward. Here we have number 10. Number 10 reads, Ella spends two-third hour practicing the piano each day. She also spends 1/2 hour jogging. What is the least common denominator of the fractions? So here, the denominator is 3, the denominator is 2. So the least common denominator, 3 times 2 is 6. And then 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 6. So 6 is the least common denominator. It is 6. Okay? That is our lesson. See you in the morning.